为什么都听不到哦？断线了吗？断线了吗？断线吗？都没有声音出来哦。对，但是没有声音哦，什么都没有哦。他们开始了吗？
到我的声音，我们今天的线上的共修即将开始喽。如果听得到我的声音，是不是给我一点回音，我才知道说我们今天的可以线上共修好，这个开始。
佑平他开始的时候，我不会听到他讲一大堆话吧？
线上的家人们，大家好，非常欢喜，也非常高兴大家今天能够来到这个线上。到我的声音，我们今天的线上的共修即将开始喽，请大家先起立，我们来进行大型3问训。如果听到我的声音，是不是
把他这边音吗？乱了太。
3问训，可以线上共修1问训，好，这个开始。好，亲爱的上人，亲爱的金车师父，还有所有的线上的家人们，大家好，非常欢喜，也非常高兴，大家今天能够来到这个线上。大家，我们今天在空中的所有的家人们即将开始喽，线上一定是非常的热闹，不只是来自于
佑平，我这里太吵了，太吵了，完全没有办法听到。
非常期盼
这边
非常的演讲。
到国际在讲话。
题目呢，当我看到这个题目的时候，我自己也觉得哇，这个讲者实在是太有巧思了，也太富深意了吧。我们今天的演讲题目是什么？大家知道吗？就是花莲的莲花。大家看到这个题目的时候，大家有没有发现，如果你从左边念叫做什么？花莲的莲花。那从右边念到左边呢？也是花莲的莲花。大家有没有发现
？Hualien's lotus, meaning the lotus from Hualien. In Chinese, it is actually a palanquin because it reads the same backwards as forward. Together, the challenges come with greater education and learning. It's what we wish to talk about today.
念到右，右念到左念，都是一样的意思，就代表它就是一个因果循环、因果相乘的这个概念已经在里面。所以呢，今天呢，我们能够坐在这里呢，能够来共同听的这一场殊胜的演讲，我要跟大家讲，真的是非常要珍惜这个学法的因缘。那为什么我们经常讲说要珍惜，要珍惜？到底要珍惜的是什么？大家去想，为什么今天礼拜六你会坐在这里，要来等着听这场演讲？那你必须你还是个人，对不对？所以得人生难，这就是第一个难的。一只瞎了眼的乌龟在大海里面100年才浮上岸，浮那个上海面1次，然后还要刚好有一个漂浮的木头，有一个小小的孔，这个孔刚好又跟这个海龟的它的头的大小差不多，它一浮上来的时候，刚好又穿过这个孔，这是得到人生的难。那再来要听到正法，听到佛法有多难，知道吗？现在所有的佛教徒在世界上才不过占6%，也就是说，真正的理解佛陀的教法的，也不过是只有6%，大概是3亿6千多万人。所以这么少的人，你现在你是其中一个，你有机会听到了这一场演讲，然后得睹佛经难。我们即便我们进了佛教，我们要真正的听到讲经，也是非常的不容易的。那更何况呢，我们得遇名师，你能听到佛经，还要有一个真正能够引导你好好把经典的意涵跟你讲的，这是更加的不容易的。所以啊，我们常说要珍惜学法因缘，珍惜学法因缘。
It is very precious for us to be able to receive Dharma and to have a master like Dharma Master Jing to guide us and help us to understand the teachings of the Buddha, and to have a platform like Tzu Chi Buddhism enable us to practice and cultivate and putting these teachings in practice. And so therefore, in today's title, it is actually Hualien's lotus, meaning the lotus from Hualien. In Chinese, it is a palindrome because it reads the same backward as forward.
但是呢，我们就希望期许自己像莲花一样，能够呢，在这么污浊的环境下，人我是非之中，如何能够戒事练心，如何能够系缘修行。We hope that we will be able to learn from the lotus as it grows in a muddy pond, just like every one of us who are living in this very defiled samsara world, so that we can stream out from the muddy pond just like the lotus flower with the righteous characters and values and understanding the meaning of life, so that we can make a positive influence and impact in the society. And today we are very, very
honor to be able to invite Brother Stephen Huang to come and give us his teaching. First, we would like to open with the excerpt of the video. This is a group of children from our Dai school in the United States. As they sighed out and praised and talked about exactly where Hualien is situated. As Hualien, it is it's very far away, all the way in the east coast of Taiwan. There is a Dharma master living there. She is a very, very mindful and very diligent Dharma master. There is not much in the east coast of Hualien at the time when the Dharma master was there. And then how everything started because of Dharma master Jing went there and established Tzu Chi school Buddhism. Dear Dharma master Jing, master of the boat, as well as brother and sisters who are online with us today, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I'm very grateful that we are able to come together with so many of us coming virtually during this very challenging pandemic. We're still able to share and learn. I'm very grateful towards Sister from Guangdong Province who wishes to hold this teaching, and so therefore we're able to share this globally. And this is an affinity that we somehow are all connected. I believe that if you are able to see me or hear me, that means this deep affinity between you and me connected us. Just a while ago, we see the group of children from our Dai schools in California. They were actually born in the United States. They were not able to speak or know the Chinese character or speak of it before they went to our school. But then over time, because we were able to teach them and educate them, so therefore this language barrier disappeared. And just like now, we're trying and hopefully to be able to translate this teaching into English so that you will understand barrier of language somehow might appear to be wall between you and me, but then through translation, then we'll be able to pass through and this wall and then to be connected again, just like us and animals or any other sentient beings, though we might be in a different form, different cultural backgrounds, but then with enough understanding, then we'll be able to know that we are all the same. Today, the lotus from Hualien or Hualien's lotus, as we have talked about as what the Emcee has talked about. And so I hoped that you will be able to understand why I chose this topic. Thanks to this pandemic, we're all somehow quarantined in our home. I'm the same as everyone else. I've been staying home and trying to do what I can. But today, I would like to share with you with my personal learning and understanding of the teachings from Dharma Master Jing. For the past 31 years, I have been with Tzu Chi as a volunteer and a devoted disciple of Dharma Master Jing. I am very grateful because the Master's teaching, it helped me transform my life and my value, my concept, and the entirety of my life. If without Master, I don't think we're able to meet right now. And most probably is that I probably won't even exist in this world because if not because of Tzu Chi. I remember at that time, of the time that I met Master, I was very blessed to have Master's permission and traveling over 30-something years. And so, though many fortune teller had told me in the past before I meet Master that I was doomed to die at that time. But then I think they were not able to find me. The pursuer from the hell were not able to find me, and so therefore, because I was traveling so fast from one country to another, and so therefore I'm still alive today. From the PowerPoint here, did you see there is a lot of messages? So on the top corner here, you see is the Jing Si abode. And before the Jing Si abode, there is a pond. It's actually the shape of Taiwan, the pond, the shape of the pond. And in the middle, there was actually some rock signifies the central mountain ridge. And then there was a lotus, and there is a reflection of the lotus and the flowers as well as the sky. Did you see also there is a mouse? There is no reflection of the mouse, but then you see how joyful the mouse looks. It just so happened that this is the year of rat, and I was also born in the year of rat. So therefore, I think, to me myself, it's like I'm very much like this rat. When I see the lotus, it brings me joy, and then cheers me up. And it is a flower. It is a symbol that I want to embrace wholeheartedly. I have been to many cathedrals and churches or temple monasteries. Before I came to Hualien Jing Si abode, when the first time I met Master, at the time when I see this abode, it's really indeed very humble and very simple. And I was very, very curious and very confused with such of a difference. Because all those temples and all those cathedrals or churches that I have been to are very grand and rather flamboyant, ornated. But then this one here that I saw, as I recall, so simple and very, very small, in fact. And then when I saw the founder, Dharma Master Zhen Yan, and to note how they sustain their living and no work, no meal, and how they do the OEM, she guided the group of monastic disciples and making a living for themselves at the same time to found a charity organization. It was not only a shock, but also amazed me and also earned my deepest respect, because this is something I was really looking for, is someone, the type of a teacher, the guidance that I was longing for. And so therefore, I immediately seek for Master to take me, the permission from Master to take me in as a disciple. And Master was very compassionate and took me in. And 5 days after I met Master, that I, as official disciples, I was very, very grateful. And 5 years after that, because of Master's teaching, I have changed so much, and I have let go of so much. And so that I gradually phased out of the industry. I was once a rather aggressive entrepreneur. I remember the time that I called Master and then seek for her permission as I make the decision. Master asked me if I was ready to be the full-time volunteer. And so then I hoped that the Master will give me her blessings, and so that with the blessings of Master and just safeguard by the Bodhisattva, that I'm able to take on this mission and this vow of mine. And when I think of it right now, and as we look at the pandemic we're facing today, I have to say that I am just truly grateful of the decision that I made. And though that it only took me 5 years after meeting Master to leave the industry, some of my friends actually ridicule me and said you already make enough money, and or you don't have any more worry, and that's why you were able to become a full-time volunteer. In fact, I wonder if that's the truth, because as entrepreneurs, how we started an enterprise, and then it requires a lot of ambitions and a lot of aggressiveness, and then how to end it and then complete this kind of a dream or values, and it actually takes a lot of wisdom and then courage. So therefore, in all, I'm very grateful that I am able to did what I have done. So then we are able to come here, and have the privilege of sharing with you my experience in the past 31 years. I have to say, life is full of impermanence, and there is not a lot of factual things in this world, because what you think and see is factful at this time, at this very moment, can very well change the next second, even through a blink of eyes. So therefore, Master taught us to pay attention, be very mindful to the truth. It is to understand there is not a permanent form anywhere, and to not be attached to that. Often we have said to people, how to let go of ourselves, how to let go of our physical attachments, images. It requires a lot of wisdom. And so this process of coming to this realization takes not only diligence, but time. I remember at the time that when I was so joyous and wanted to immediately become the disciple of Master, and then to be able to allow myself to immerse in this profound teachings of the Dharma. But it was still rather vivid, but then to continue takes a lot of determination. As we know, as many of the Chinese, we know that we are constantly worrying about a lot of things. And there are a lot of things we are seeking, whether selfishly or unselfishly in our life. So then, therefore, we understand how to really gradually let go. It's not only requires a lot determination, but then it also requires wisdom. And this wisdom is to be cultivated over a period of time. And so therefore, back to this picture that on the PowerPoint about this, how this rat is so joyous, and when he sees this lotus reflection on the pond, and so happy to then jump out, wanted to embrace this lotus. It is for you to understand and for you to contemplate. So when we talk about Jing Si abode, we have to talk about Jing Si Dharma Lineage, because it is actually the backbone and the essence of Tzu Chi school Buddhism. So what we want to talk about today, about for the next 10 minutes, I wanted to share with you. As we marking the 55 years anniversary of Tzu Chi school Buddhism, Master is at her 84 years of age. The Dharma lineage and that she has established as its Jing Si Dharma lineage, and the Tzu Chi school Buddhism, which encompass 4 mission and 4 services. It's how we were able to apply these teachings of the Jing Si Dharma lineage into practice. So therefore, to be able to integrate both, it is very important, especially for every one of our Jing Si disciples. I remember last year when Master was rather ill physically. I have a very strong feeling personally. I feel like every word Master said, and at a time, is like the last word. It is like she was leaving the will. So I was very concerned, very worried. So I was going through several different countries and giving teachings about being loyal and being faithful and how we need to uphold the practices of the lineage, and then how we should be able to walk on this path righteously. But then today, with the limited amount of time, I won't be able to contemplate in this part. In fact, I would like to share with you something else today, but it's also just as equally important. It is actually very simple, with so few words. About totally of 32 Chinese character is the entire essence. Because Jing Si abode is actually the home to the monastic practitioners, as well as all the brothers and sisters around the world. So then how are we able to put this teaching into practice? Requires clear understanding about our Jing Si Dharma lineage. The first word we all need to know is about being sincere, because our spirit is to mindfully cultivate our inner self so that we can perfect gradually ourselves, or we can gradually perfect ourselves of this sincerity, integrity, faith, and steadfastness. So exactly why we need to cultivate our sincerity, because it's about being pure, being honest, and being genuine. It is, and then same as the integrity, it is about being righteous and treating all equally. Same as faith, how we should solemnly and wholeheartedly believe in the truth. It's just like what everybody know is faith is the is the mother of all merits. Because without faith, it is impossible for us to continue unwaveringly on this path. So therefore, steadfastness is being real and practical. It's just as equally important. Therefore, this four character, sincerity, integrity, faith, and steadfastness, it is the ground, it is the core for every one of us to understand and to uphold. So, what is the ultimate state of those four characters, those four values? It is when we are able to cultivate the sincerity, integrity, faith, and steadfastness in such a perfect form, then we'll be able to reach the state with a mind of tranquil and clear, and then to be able to keep our mind in a meditative and still form, so that we're constantly in the state of samadhi. That is the best manifestation of cultivating the sincerity, integrity, faith, and steadfastness. And this is actually also the mindset, the state of the Buddha. So then if you are interested, I strongly encourage you to go back to study and expound on the teaching of the Sutra of Infinite Meaning. So that you will be able to understand what does it mean by having a mind of tranquility, and then how to keep it clear, and why it is so important to maintain in the state of a samadhi, and how is it different, and how is the same from the others, and how we are able to best manifest it. It is what we talked about, the process of a cultivation and the importance of a cultivating intelligence. Just like what the Buddha say, that we are all the same, we're all equal, because we all have the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha in us. We're capable of liberating and empowering ourselves. But then without understanding it, we will probably always rely on others and hoping for others to be the one that we can count on, and hope for others to help liberate us. But then, if we really understand that we all have the same Buddha nature, we all have the ability to liberate ourselves, then we will be able to empower ourselves. And so therefore, all the teachings or the sharing from the others are just like supplements or reference or supporting documents for us to learn and to discipline ourselves with. And so therefore, if you contemplate even deeply on the teachings of the Sutra and Infinite Meaning, so that you will know self-sustaining, it is the very, very important thing. And how we're able to do it is that is so that we have to daily, repeatedly cultivate and practice the sincerity, integrity, faith, and steadfastness. And in order, only when we're able to do that, then we'll be able to understand those 4 great vows, which is also the goal of Jing Si Dharma Lineage, is to hope that we will be able to perfect, every one of us to be able to perfect those vows that we have made. Just like the Tzu Chi school of Buddhism, how it go in line with Jing Si Dharma Lineage, so that they can provide us the platform for us to apply these values with action, that we will manifest the loving kindness, the compassion, joy, and equanimity through our 4 missions. So for love and kindness, we can see it is through our charity mission we're able to alleviate the suffering. And for the compassion, we have the medicine mission to alleviate suffering without resentment, and then to alleviate the sickness. And just like, and the joy is through our humanitarian culture, we'll be able to spread the Dharma without worries. And the equanimity is through the education mission to give without seeking anything in return. These are the 4 platforms and 4 missions that's in line with the teachings of Jing Si Dharma Lineage, so that we will be able to apply it daily, to be able to cultivate it every day, because they're so closely connected with our everyday life. I remember about 50-something years ago, when Master established the Tzu Chi Foundation, she was so wise and with such a great vision that she already applied with the government to have these 4 missions and 4 services in her mind. So this is something that's really amazing every time I think about it. 因为我们要录取，那用什么方法呢？必用的方法就是悲智双运悲智双运，就慈悲跟智慧了。As we all know, that we all understand, and then where Hualien is located, the fact is that it's situated next to the train rail, so then every day we can hear the train coming back and forth. And sometimes, even when Master gave a teaching, there is an aircraft flying over the sky. So, but then how she continued to give the teaching, and then how we can be very mindful in receiving the teaching requires our focus. 所以我们走的是人间菩萨道。所以太虚大师，当然他是英年早逝啊，很可惜啊，他是创造人生佛教。我常常 Whenever we talk about Lotus Sutra, we talk about any kind of teaching, we wonder exactly how we can validate this. So therefore, Master was very wise in established, she gave a teaching in Jing Si Dharma Lineage. She also established the school Buddhism. So therefore, we can apply it. We can apply it into practice, and for us to personally validate it and to verify it ourselves. So every learning, every step away is very personal and very authentic, unlike other way of practices. So to not comment or to talk any more about other school of Buddhism and the way they practice, I wish for you to really be very mindful and thinking about exactly how you have put Master's teaching in your everyday practice. And this is how I have personally practiced, and this is why I have been so devoted in what Master teach and what Master says. For the past 50-something years, 55 years, Master has continues to give us this teaching repeatedly with various different way of showing us and guiding us. And so I hope that we will be able to keep this in mind, and that this devotion, determination the Master has is actually a very fine example for us to follow. As we talk about the topic today, we talk about lotus. And so what is the connection between the lotus and us, and what I'm talking about? Lotus is also known as Hehua or Lianhua in Chinese, because the stem of the stamens of the Nubians of Hehua, which is the lotus flower's stamen, is also known as Lianxu. The pot that streams out of the pot is known as the seed pot of the lotus. The fruits are known as the lotus seed. The germ is known as the lotus heart. What connects the lotus and the soil or the ground is through its rhizomes, the roots. So actually, lotus, or whether we call it Lianhua or Hehua, are the same. In Chinese, the same character, Hehua, is lotus, while the character He represents the flowers and the leaves, and the character of lotus, Lian, signify lotus seeds. Although they grow in the muddy pond, it streams out from the muddy pond with no stain of filth or mud. It's upright and elegant postures, just like a person with noble characters. Therefore, lotus is often used to praise or motivate someone with sophisticated and noble characters. And so we often use this to praise someone or to talk about someone with a very noble character. And we know the lotus rhizomes and the lotus seeds are very nutritional products. And they're even the roots, the lotus rhizomes can reduce the heat and detox, and the seed can nurture and calm the soul with a lot of different medicinal values. And we also know that the lotus is actually originated from India. And then because the fact that how it can sprout from its young tender roots, and then from there it grows and develops into stem and leaves and flower and seed pod, and the cycle repeats itself continuously. Rhizomes are not only edible but also brings joy to the people. Therefore, it is also known as a miracle root. And this is why we often use lotus to praise or to represent someone with a very noble value or character. And we also hope ourselves to be able to learn from the lotus, stream out from the muddy pond, and then to be able to be of an example or guidance for others to follow, and to be of a positive influence in this muddy pond, just like a positive influence in this defiled society, this world that is so chaotic right now, so that we can bring joy and happiness and positive influence to everyone. As you see, from this PowerPoint here, as a mother bears a child, the process is not only very arduous, very challenging, but in how we're closely connected with our mother, not just the heartbeats, the umbilical cord connected us closely, that we have the same genes, same traits, or the same thinking and same values. And so therefore, the importance of coexisting and living with our mother affects the way we think and we live. Just very much like the lotus seeds. It's from the lotus seed pot, and it's from the lotus. And so whatever, and then whatever the seeds come, the shape of the seeds or the quality of the seed will affect the development and the growth of the next lotus flower. Same as us. It's because how important it is for us to be closely connected to the Jing Si Dharma lineage is through our action. And then because of this connection of ours, what enable us to make a positive influence and then affect the way we behave and act and speak. You see this little girl that I'm holding, her name is Stacy. She's actually native Mozambique. She is so lovely and cute. And she calls me grandpa. And you can see when I flew to Mozambique to participate in disaster relief work, where she was living, it requires a very great affinity. And we talked about how today's world is so upside down. There are a lot of things that is so out of place, out of the order. Just like the picture I want to show you here, you see the children here with that wearing the torn clothes. It's not because they are in the fashion. They're like the three girls on the top, but I wonder if you see the same problem as I see, then why we need to torn the jeans and make big holes and then turn them into a fashion style. It's that kind of a culture that we are very proud to uphold, to keep. Is that the kind of a humanitarian culture that can best represent and signify human beings existing in this universe? So therefore, when Master give a term to the humanitarian culture to document all the beautiful things that the human beings have committed or have engaged, and all the precious and beautiful value that we can proudly pass down to the next generation. You can see the difference between that definition of humanitarian culture to this kind of a different culture that you can you see. And so, as we continue to go down to the picture, we see that there was a little girl, a Caucasian girl, you see right next to the two African children. The difference in their lifestyle, the difference in the way of living standard. The biggest difference between them is not the skin color, it's not the race, it is the merits, it is the blessing. It is the blessing that we all need to have in order for us to have the merits to continue to live the way we live, to be able to go to school, to be able to have a good job, to be able to have a place to sleep, to be able to live in a country that's safe and healthy without fear and with plenty of food and etc. And so therefore, it is very important for us to be able to recognize this, the importance of life, so then we can be grateful to the blessing we have and to appreciate and to cultivate, because we know how valuable and how precious it is and how important it affects one another. And in the next photo I would like to share with you is when I went to Mozambique and I brought the photo of Dharma Master, and this lady from Mozambique came to give a hug to Master. You see the facial expression of this lady. Everyone think of Master and view Master as the life savior, as the God from the heaven. And this is what happened found in my trip that I want to share with you, that I found it rather astonishing in Mozambique. Now I would like to take you quickly to the next photo. It was actually on 2000, on February 14th, Valentine's Day in 2008. And why am I climbing the ladders to hang the master's photos on the wall? This is actually taking place in Indonesia, where it's the biggest Muslim country in the world. We were honored to be given this right to place this photo master on top of the mosaic. I mean the study room of a Muslim from the Muslim rabbi, because of all the things that Tzu Chi have done to help the people in Indonesia, especially during the time of a tsunami hit the mosque, and also took away and wiped out the families and homes of many. And this kind of rescuing work and relief work continue in Indonesia. Not because the tsunami continues now, but it is because there were always a lot of people in need of relief and support and assistance. And so this type of integrated efforts between the religious practices as well as different ethnic backgrounds continued in Indonesia. And so you see, though we come from different backgrounds with different practices, different values, but then we are able to be connected as long as we all have compassion and wisdom. And so therefore, why you want to talk about compassion and wisdom? Right here, there is a book that I want to share with you. It is the 50 years of the Bodhisattva path. It entails and depicts the journey the master has traveled together with the brothers and sisters over the 50 years. Whether that you are in China, that you have very many famous mountains with various different histories and profound teachings to it, I strongly encourage you to get a copy of this book, and so that you will be able to understand more about Dharma Master Jingyan, and then what we're talking about today, and as well as the Master's teaching and her wisdom, and how she has guided every one of us along this Bodhisattva path in this 55 years. And next, I would like to take you to another Muslim country. Some of you might have seen this photo. On the left-hand side is 1998, when I was still young and more audacious in a way. And you see this little figuring on the right foot of this statue. That's me. It is actually the great Buddha statue of Bamiyan. I think in the chapter 2 of Journey to the West had depicted this very big statues of Bamiyan. It is the same. And then alongside on the wall, the cave of this great Buddha statue, there are so many different little tiny statues. Sadly, when I went there, there were already a lot of damages to this great Buddha statue because a lot of misunderstanding or a lot of conflicts and wars, and that took away people's love and compassion and then diluted their thinking. And so therefore, a lot of regrettable things happened. But then thankfully today I had the blessing to go there in 1998 when I participated in Afghanistan's relief. I remember when I was up in the airplane and discussing with my fellow Tzu Chi volunteers and as well as the pilots about who would have the right to wear the parachute, since there was like one or two shorts, not enough for everyone. So that part of a life gives me a very, very profound teaching and an impact. I remember from there and then till September 11th, how the World Trade Center was being put down and how the terrorist war started and everything. But then after that, I didn't have the privilege of returning back to Afghanistan because of the dangers that it might bring to people. Then later after that, you can see it got completely bombed down by the terrorists, and so we can no longer see it. So back to what we would like to share with you as far as what and why we talk about this Dharma lineage, with Lotus Sutra being the essence of this Dharma lineage of ours. The master starting from 2007, February 1st, and master started to, master was in Guandu, Taipei, the northern part of Taiwan, and that was the time that the disciples have request for master to start to expound on the teaching with Lotus Sutra. And it was not until 2008, March 13th, master started to give teaching on the prelude. And then on July 23rd, 2009, she started to give teaching on the introductory chapter. And she didn't complete this introductory chapter until nearly 3 years later. As you know, in Lotus Sutra, it consists of 28 chapters and largely in verses, with many charms and mantras. And, I remember Master have talked about this, and they will all know that when the Buddha started expounding on these teachings, 5,000 of disciples, those without much merits, have left. And so therefore, it reminds me to how blessed that I am to be able to be here to listen to Master give teaching alive. At the early times, when I heard Master say she is not seeking for health, but then seeking for determination, and so that she can continue on this, guiding us on this path, really, really admires me. I think what Master really touches me, and then what really affected me the most is that she exemplified herself through her own actions, and then she fully illustrated how we all have the same Buddha nature, and we all have the ability to cultivate this bodhicitta, and which is the most powerful and pure compassion in us that enable us to cultivate our own wisdom. And so as spiritual practitioners, we shall all strive to be as mindful as the Buddha, and then just like the Master, and to take up the teachings and to help us to cultivate. And so, therefore, Master said that wisdom is not about how much you can talk about and how many books you read or how much sutra you remember, but it's about how you can put the teaching into practice and so that you can validate it for yourself. And then you can actually change and develop yourself. And so, therefore, the fact that what the Buddha had taught without being validated, it is so far-fetched. It is the distance between full comprehension and understanding. It's very, very large and very big. And so therefore, we have to believe to ourselves that we have the Buddha and Dharma and Sangha in us. As a person, we would be able to obtain the same wisdom as the Buddha because we all have the same Buddha nature. But then it requires the processes and determination of over the eons of lifetime. And this is a continuous step and continuous process for every one of us. So luckily that we have a teacher like Dharma Master Jing who has the right mind, right thought, right action, and right values so that they will be able to guide us. I remember what did the head master have given us all this time, and what she had reminded me all this time. It is that to not seek any farther, but then to outward, but then to look inside of ourselves, and then to ask ourselves and to see how much we have putting the teaching into practice. It's the most authentic validation of how much we can develop and grow and cultivate our wisdom in return. It is just like the sutra that opens two doors, the intrinsic and the manifest ones. The Dharma and analogies clarify the profound truth, enabling all those in limited vehicles to realize the Buddhist wisdom. So then, therefore, this is very much like what Master is teaching is she gave teaching through Jing Si Dharma Lineage, but then she also established school Buddhism to enable us to apply it. And with the door opens so wide so that everybody can join and can apply and can validate. And so, therefore, it is very important that we pay attention to this Lotus Sutra, especially when there was 7 parables of Lotus Sutra. The Master has given explicit explanation and teachings on. The first one, it is the parable of the burning house. It's like the 3 realms that we are in. It's very much like the home that is burning. Just as the children who are very ignorant of whatever is going on in home. And the master is like the father or the mother who is standing out there and seeing how the home is coming down because the burning fire is calling us to go out, to get out of this burning home, burning house, so that we can be safe. And so, therefore, through this kind of parable, we also learn and then understand this is exactly the same thing, and that is it's affecting us right now, just like the world. It's like this bigger home of ours that is so chaotic. There's a lot of imbalance going on, whether it is man-made or natural disaster. It's repeatedly affecting the lives of ours. So then how we should reach out to people and then to share the teaching and to give the teaching of Master to those and to be a positive force to tell them that the home is burning. We need to come out. We need to be able to get out of this so that we can be safe. And so therefore, this is why I think this parable of burning house is so important, especially to me. To not only think there is a constant happiness and the world is full of permanence, which is not possible. It is same as another parable I would like to share with you. It is the parable of the poor son. And so this is the very important parable to tell us the father is so wealthy. And it was because of the son who was so lost. So then it took the son so many years to come back. And so therefore, we need to understand the impact of a delusion, how it can affect the way we seek the truth, and the fact that this impact of from the delusion not only can affect the way we see the truth, but then will affect the way we behave and act, and as well as the direction of our life. Next, the parable that I want to share with you is the parable of medicinal plants. It is very much like the medicines that the Buddha is giving to different sentient beings with different sickness or different needs, to provide them with different strength, to nurture them, to heal them, because they will allow them to have the capacity. It's just like a lot of traditional way of practicing Buddhism is continue to fall into the practice that only suitable for the time then, and it has not evolved along with the time and the practices to meet the needs of the people nowadays. And so therefore, again, I would like to emphasize there is an infinite capacity within every one of us. And so that if we are able to be very mindful in studying and understanding the teachings of this parable, we will understand how to reach out and to seek or to receive or take the medicines that Buddha is giving us. The next parable is the parable of a conjured city. Just like the place we're living in, or it's just like the images or presentation manifestations that we're currently seeing right now. Same as the Tzu Chi school of Buddhism, this provides a platform for us to cultivate, to practice, to validate on, so that we're able to continue forward. But it is continuously evolving. So therefore, we must also evolve and then grow and develop ourselves as well. So then therefore, as we safeguard our mind and our thoughts within this authentic validating platform, we also need to keep in mind the fact that it is a continuous evolving process. Because if we are not mindful about this, it is very easily for us to not understand the treasure of this conjured city, and as well as this parable. The next, it is about the parable of the jewel in the clothing. Is where we will be able to see the same Buddha nature as what the Buddha has. As what the Buddha had repeated to tell us, just like what the Master has taught us and then exemplified in every way to show us that Buddha is just like every one of us was a human being and have gone through process of cultivation to reach the state of the enlightenment. So therefore, we must learn from we must understand that we all have the same Buddha nature, though that we come from different walks of life, have different habits, different habitual tendency, and different affinities. But then, as long as we are very mindful and as we are very determined in cultivating ourselves, we'll be able to reach the same state of the enlightenment and return to the same Buddha nature as we all have. Next is the parable of the pearl in the top knot. It is talking about the Lotus Sutra. It's talking about why it took the Buddha so many years to give the Lotus Sutra, and why Lotus Sutra is the sutra he expounded before he attained the state of nirvana. So just very much like Master, how she upholds the 6 words given by Dharma Master Yin Shun for all sentient beings, for Buddha's teaching, and she has been putting these 6 words into practice all her life, and even till now, and give the Lotus Sutras, the teaching on the Lotus Sutra until today. The very last parable is the parable of an excellent doctor. As we know, how to become a good doctor is to understand the sickness of the patient. And so, with the proper diagnosis and the proper and the mindful and compassion of the doctor, mindfulness of the and compassion of the doctor will be able to apply the right medicine and give the right medicine to the patient. This is the parable of the excellent doctor, how it affects the lifespan of when the father gave food to the children. The children must be willing and then in taking this food and understanding the importance of this food. So what is most important is not to worry about whether Master will be with us, but then to really to worry about whether we have a Master's teaching in our practice. Because if Master is not with us one day, who should we rely on? Is to rely on the teachings the Master has given us, and then to put the teaching into practice, and then let that teaching and let that practice become the guidance and to guide us forward. And so then therefore we can really understand what Master wanted to teach us. And so therefore Master says that I have now paved this road, it's the Bodhisattva path for everyone to walk on for the past 55 years, and it is up to every one of us to decide to walk on this path or not. And for us, if you're willing, then then you will be able to see every step away can be validated in the Lotus Sutra, and every teachings from the Lotus Sutra given by Master can be validated through the application, the action, whether that's through 4 missions and 4 services or your everyday life. And then because of that, then you'll be able to understand why it is important to have this conjured city and why it is important to have those medicinal plants or all the different parables is because we want to, because Master wanted to help us understand what the Buddha have said It is a true emptiness, but a wondrous existence. It is all about cultivation. It's without the need to cultivate, then there's no need to have such form or such presence. And then because of this presence, and so therefore we have a way to help us better understand. And as a form, as a symbol, as a goal, as an example for us to look up to.
出生宫是代表我们的心嘛？你看早上上人在开示的时候还讲到心猿意马，这个马就是意念，出生宫就是心。
And throughout the histories, there are various different venerable Dharma masters. One of the most well-known Dharma masters is Xuanzang, who had traveled to India, to Nalanda Institute, to study and receive Dharma. It took him a total of 19 years before he returned to China and to bring back the sutras. And because of this journey that he took was required 19 years, and the process was very challenging and very arduous. So there are a lot of different fables were being composed to signify the challenges and the difficulties of going to India to receive the teachings of the Buddha. So in the cartoon pictorial form here, you can see there was a journey to the west was the Monkey King and the pig and also the horse and also those disciples together. And this picture shows how important it is to put the Dharma into practice and how important Dharma safeguard Xuanzang along his journey of going to India and back. Then other than Xuanzang, we also know, and I think we're very familiar with Dharma Master Wu Da, who realized the profound relationship of cause and condition. And so therefore, he composed the Sutra of Repentance, in which we have turned into a Sutra adaptation many years ago. And because of this cause that started and miskilling of this general since Tang Dynasty, and this anger and this hatred of has continued till for 10 generations, till Han Dynasty, until Dharma Master Wu Da has somehow became rather arrogant of his status because the emperor have granted him of this precious chair. So we all know the story about the Sutra of Water Repentance, and then how, even though the Dharma Master Wu Da has been a renowned Dharma Master for 10 lifetimes, just one mishap of being not being mindful can easily open the door of this karmic door and then invites all the karmic retribution to come to you. So therefore, this is something that has awakened many brothers and sisters at that time. And many of them have also adapted the vegetarian diet since then. But then sadly, there's still not enough. And so therefore, we have to note why we're spending so much time of our life to make a living and to earn so much money so that we can go out and then kill many animals or many lives so that we can eat them. And so this is something that we have to think about. Next is about the Venerable Dharma Master Jian Zhen. You can see today how Dharma Master Jian Zhen has brought the beautiful architectural design, the culture of Tang Dynasty to Japan, which can be seen in Tosho Daiji temple of Nara right now, where he is buried. And at the time, it took Dharma Master Jian Zhen total 7 trips in order to deliver the principle of the precept, and because with the first 6 trips were failed, and also caused his the visions of his eyes. But then it did not stop him from continuing to go forward and to deliver the principle of the precept and to share this teaching in Japan.
朕就是我了啊，皇帝从来没有尝过，未曾尝过就变成味噌了啊，这是小故事。后来我再带了一包回去啊，给上人说，这个就是鉴真和尚带到日本的米手啊，味噌。
And it is interestingly, it was also Dharma Master Jian Zhen who brought the miso to Japan, and it's how miso started it in Japan because of this interesting affinity. Because when he brought this miso to Japan, then the emperor and the empress had a taste of it and was very, very amazed by the taste of it, and so they started to manufacture this. So when Brother Stephen went to Nara, he also brought a little pack of the miso from the Tosho Daiji temple of Nara back to Master. We often say that Dharma is the truth, but then if we don't have the right mind, right view, and right thinking, then we won't be able to see the truth. And so we won't, if we don't see the truth, we won't be able to continue to seek the teaching of the Dharma. Just like I'm 72 years old already, and I think and I hope there are still many years ahead. And then I want to continue to give to share, and then to be able to give and share what I can with everyone. But it is still inevitable for me and for everyone to see that I'm aging, and so that it's important. I need to pass it down and the baton, or I need to be able to encourage more people, the younger generation, to quickly speed up and to take this baton, so that then we can continue to pass this generation after generation. Just like Dharma Master Zheng Yan has started this Tzu Chi school of Buddhism, Amidst Dharma Lineage, from nothing, and then from a very, very challenging time, and with a continuous teaching over 50-something years. The only thing that she hoped is for everyone, her disciple, to continue to pass down this teaching and this practice, and to make positive influence, and to be able to understand the teaching of the Buddha. So therefore, if one day Master actually leave us physically, you don't have to worry about or give a second thoughts about whether what would happen to us or anything like that. You just need to know the Master has already given us her teaching, her Dharma, when she was alive. And so therefore, even if Master is no longer with us physically, her teachings are with us. So wherever you have Master's teaching. If it's in your heart, then Master is inside your heart. If you're able to put the teaching into practice, then the Master is there with you as well. So then therefore, this is what we need to focus on. This is what we need to concentrate on.
他就问徒弟了，他说：“你们有没有人啊，可以舍身为这个传法，捐命换开悟？”
Though the fact that the Master had continued to give a teaching for 50-something years, the only way that she can see whether her teaching has been comprehended and then understood and applied is through the actions of the disciple. It's just like right now, I'm giving the teaching or sharing by myself with the microphone in front of me and screen in front of me. I'm not so sure if any one of you really know. But then I know one thing is that one day, if you, what I share, what I do is actually affecting you in any way positively, then you can come and let me know. Or then I'll be able to see this impact of this collectively for every one of you. So therefore, this is something that I hope that we can always remember. When we say to the Master, don't worry, because as your disciple, we will mindfully and wholeheartedly, solemnly pass down this Dharma lineage. As we say this, and as we give this vow to Master, we really need to ask ourselves, are we really serious about what we say? Have we really put this vow and teaching into practice? Have we ever, have we started it at all? And if we have, then how often have we put this teaching into practice? And how profound, how strong, how determined the vow that we gave when we said it to Master and to ourselves at the same time. So therefore, next I wanted to share with you is that Master said that I'm writing my will each day. Well, of course, we know that the Master doesn't write will, but then what she say every day is as if it's a will. So she said, I'm writing my will each day as I have spent my life documenting the history with the teaching. Each day, Master is competing with time, as it seems. She's not only offering herself completely, but then she's using her life in exchange for our wisdom life. Because it's just like our mother that is closely connected with us, and this umbilical cord that marrow, the nutrient, the blood, the gene, the everything that is closely connected and is passing down through that cord to every one of her child that she is carrying. And so therefore, we need to know whenever we say that we're doing Tzu Chi for you, for anyone, no, it's not doing for anyone, we're doing for ourselves, because without validating it, without putting into practice, how do we know we as a person with this really understand what Buddha had taught us, we have developed or evolved without being confronted, validated, challenged, and tested? How are we able to have authentic validation of what we are and who we have become? And so therefore, as the Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, disaster relief, longevity medicine Buddha, or Namo Amitabha, or Maitreya Buddha, whatever and whichever Buddha that you have are used to chanting or praising, just like Master has long before has given the retreats and the disaster relief and longevity medicine Buddha, because there was a great vows that the Medicine Buddha gave to be able to give comfort and relief and food to all beings. And so therefore, all those bodhisattvas and Buddhas that we have constantly praised or calling should not only just be the terms or the names to satisfy our thoughts, but then it's to be able to remind ourselves of their great vows and then the purpose and the reason of their existence, and then and how we should learn from them. So I have to say, to me, Master's wisdom is just like the Manjushri, and then her vow is just like the Samatha Mahabodhisattva, and then her compassion is like the Guan Yin, and her will is just like the Earth Treasury Bodhisattva that is so broad and so vast. And so because this kind of vow and determination and master, just like the Sariputta, okay, and the Puna, and one of the best Dharma messengers of Buddha's time, and also the Devadatta, he has cultivated for a very long period of time and accumulated a lot of wisdom and the merits, but then there is still a lot of habitual tendencies that is difficult to remove. And so therefore, though he eventually, ultimately attained the Buddhahood, is because it was through the sutras, Lotus Sutra, is through the Bodhisattva path. So then, before anyone can attain to the Buddhahood, and this is the exact teaching that's been given by the Buddha. And so therefore, I always say it, you never know. As long as you are determined, as long as you're very faithful and diligent and cultivating on this path, I'm sure every one of us will be able to attain the Buddhahood, just like all the Buddha before us. At the same time, even before we reach the state of Buddhahood, we will be able to understand about the Sariputta, the disciple of the Buddha, and the Puna, or even the Devadatta, and how their journey of cultivation is so wonderful and is so inspirational, and then how we are connected with them and how their teaching or can change our views and help us with our cultivation. So then therefore, to be able to assume the responsibility willingly, to be responsible, be very mindful of our own action, to have great expectation of ourselves, to be able to surpass the current self and then to advance ourselves, will be able to help us to become more powerful, be able to empower ourselves. Just like how the master had nothing at the time, but then she gave a great vow to wanted to build a hospital. And so therefore, this kind of mindfulness, it's what touches everyone. It is what inspires everyone. And so therefore, being very mindful, it is so important. So then don't be shy. Next time when you see master, you don't be shy in telling master how you want to assume the responsibility, and willingly, of course, and then how you'll be responsible of this this vow that you make, and then be very mindful and wanting to just to advance yourself every day diligently. And so therefore, when you do that, then you will see the difference. Next, it was a little cartoon, the pictorial cartoon that I want to share with you, is that some used to joke that for many, the first year of becoming a disciple, the Buddha is with you. And a few years later, second year or third year or so, the Buddha is actually somehow miles away. Then 10 years from now, the Buddha is no longer around you. Why? It's because our laziness or our habitual tendency, because you're very, very heavily attached. And so therefore, it is not very easily for us to change or to develop and to advance ourselves. But then if we can think about Master and then to use Master as an example and reminded ourselves, motivate ourselves, then we would know that it is possible. Because look at Master, though that she has been staying in Taiwan all her life, but then she was able to do what? She was able to strive on Taiwan and reach out to over 110 countries and to be able to give love and care and relief to people all over the world. Not only that, she was able to carry out the 4 missions and 4 services. So how does determination and how does will, how strong the Master, how strong of the will a Master has to enable her to do this. Even now, with so many of us were being quarantined or staying home around the world, Master still continue to give teaching virtually. This year, we're marking 30th anniversary of the recycling. I remember the time Master told us to use the hands, the applaud, to be the hands to help to turn garbage into treasure and treasure into love, and then let this love purify the world. So therefore, for all these years, this kind of will and this kind of a power continue. Because throughout this 30-something years, every one of our recycle volunteers learn from Master as they practice what Master talked about, the 6 paramitas. By giving, she gives and helps the world. By holding the precept with strict self-discipline, with 1 grain of rice, starting even within 1 grain of rice. Such a strict self-discipline and holding the precept, and then to practice the patience, the endurance, to endure the kind of slander remark and all kind of challenges or difficulties. Even I remember the time in 1991, there was great flood in China, and I was in the United States at the time. We were hoping to be able to do something for China, but then Master knew it was a very challenging task. However, despite all the slander remark, all the uproar in media and all the different communities in Taiwan and internationally, Master continue. And so that's how Tzu Chi embarked the first relief in China. And so same as being diligent, day after day, night after night. So then we'll be able to reach the state of samadhi, just like us. How to think about how we should uphold this practice day after day, night after night, life after life, as we walk onto the school of Buddhism, as the Bodhisattva path, guiding us to understand this 6 paramitas. Then we must know it is the root wisdom that enables us to do so. But then how to cultivate this wisdom also require ourselves to be very mindful in putting our teachings into practices. So then I hope to all those who are with us today, whether you're already a vegetarian or not, I hope that you can either change yourself and mindfully and sincerely, earnestly to take a vegetarian diet, or to reach out to others who are not yet vegetarians. If just like Brother Frankie, Brother Frankie from Indonesia, who is one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Indonesia. that he has been a disciple for many years, but then had challenges in taking up vegetarian diet, but then he changed. He changed this time seriously because he truly understands Master's teaching, and especially with the impact of this pandemic. So therefore, what we always hear now from Master is that to diligently go out and reach out to everyone and to promote vegetarian diets. So therefore, we need to know to give without asking anything in return, we must have gratitude, respect, and love. So that then, with a broad and open mind, open heart, we will not hurt others, and with a simple and pure mind, we will not be hurt by others. And so because of that, we need this 4-ingredient spiritual soup, which is contentment, gratitude, understanding, and acceptance. Then we will be able to enter these 4 Dharma doors, which is the unity, harmony, mutual love, and concerted efforts together. Then we will be able to understand how we can how this field of blessing can invite all good people in this world, and 10,000 lotus hearts, Lotus Sutra, lotus can bloom and create the world of Tzu Chi. So therefore, what we know to the fact that Lotus Sutra is known as the king of all sutra because it's the sutra that expounded the essence of Buddha's teaching. It teaches us the importance to walk on this Bodhisattva path and how it is the only way to attain Buddhahood, to turn knowledge into wisdom, and we will be able to, we will have no differentiation, we will not be attached, we will not have no delusion, we will be very mindful and focused. Because the Sutra of Infinite Meaning had clearly stated, we should know that the Sutra is true in words and principle and supremely honored. It is safeguarded by all Buddhas of the 3 periods. It comes from the home of all the Buddhas and reaches out to all the sentient beings to help inspire their bodhicitta and to be with each of the sentient beings along this bodhisattva path. So starting from 1 to infinite, we must fully integrate our compassion and wisdom in order to cultivate our merits and blessings. With the sincerity, integrity, faith, and steadfastness, we'll be able to retain all teachings and uphold all goodness with the kindness, loving kindness and compassion, joy, and equanimity. So then therefore, then we will be able to understand the importance of this entering this Dharma door. Though it was open, the Buddha was very compassionate and open to Dharma door, but then it's different. After you enter the door, you see there's no difference. It was just one of the door enable us to better understand, to easier understand. So therefore, you see it's a photo here. It was 2 years ago when I fell accidentally. Luckily, I saw the superintendent Jian from Tzu Chi Hospital in Taiwan, who is a surgeon and so then because of his skill, I was able to get sewed up and without leaving any scars behind. There is another photo I want to share with you. It's actually Tzu Chi Hospital in Shandong province that we hope that we will have a chance to visit. Then because of the permission from the Shandong province, the approval from the government, local government, to turn this hospital into Tzu Chi Hospital and to integrate Tzu Chi's humanistic medicine value into the way they manage the hospital and treating the patient and practices and cultivate their life can continue to make a bigger impact. And then there was another a beautiful story that I want to share with you. There was a Dharma master in Dian who has been a monastic practitioner for 30 years, and with 15 years retreats, he has used his own blood to write a Lotus Sutra. And then after knowing about Dharma Master Zheng Yan and Tzu Chi, he wanted it to offer this writing of sutra, of Lotus Sutra to Master. Though that we already have received this offering and is now being placed in Jing Si Hall in Jing Si bookstore in Beijing. But then because of this pandemic, we not yet have the chance to deliver this gift back to the abode. I remember there was a few years ago, Master had encouraged us that we must have great awakening in order to help eliminate the great disasters or great calamities. And so therefore, exactly what Master meant at the time, now I come to think of it, truly it is rather amazing, because unless every one of us come together and we are all awakened to our action, our deeds, and our power, then it will be difficult for us to eliminate these great calamities, because it is not possible for us to say that we can have great awakening just by one person, and so this one very person can can take away all the calamities. It is impossible. So therefore, I would like to invite everyone to come together and to remember that we together will be able to stream out from this muddy pond and to be able to have adopt this noble character and to be able to make a positive impact to everyone in this world. And again, thank you very much for giving me this time, and I know I have delayed it by several minutes. And with some of the disconnected network, and we apologize for not being able to translate or properly deliver the teaching to you. And then I hope that whatever you have heard or received were able to help you, or to help you better understand, or to motivate you or inspire you in any way. Again, thank you very much for spending your time to be with us. And if you're currently with us, I hope that you have the same feeling as I do. That we apologize for the disconnected network right now, so that it is not easy for the transmission to come through. But then the sharing and the teachings from Brother Stephen has completed. And right now we have the Emcee, which is Brother Isaac, who's continuing with his sharing. But then again, I apologize because of this disconnected network. We're not able to convey the message to you right now through any translation. But then again, thank you very much for being with us online. And we hope that you find this teaching helpful, or the sharing helpful. And please feel free to give comments and feedback to the sharing and teaching, as well as the translation, so that we can better improve ourselves in the future. Thank you very much.
我那天先把你那个你原体向上行三问讯里问讯，再问讯，三问讯。感恩大家，也感恩世贤爸爸的法布施让我们今天法喜充满。感恩大家，
感恩，
感恩。
哎呀，对不起各位。
感恩大家，也感恩世贤爸爸的法布施让我们今天法喜充满。
还在线吗？
我们可能
那个线断了啦。
我们要